very, very, very much coming from the bottom of my heart. You all know why we're here today. This is Flora's book launch for her second book. But something very devastating happened in Kenya, which we are all aware about, I'm sure. So I'd like to start this. We were unable to postpone this book launch, and Flora still wants us to go forward, but we would like all of you to join in a moment of silence to remember the departed souls in Garissa. So once again, welcome. My name is Emily Lockhart. I'm a dear friend of Flora's. I consider her my Kenyan mama, and I very much enjoy being with her. I enjoy being in her company, and I really enjoyed helping her put this book launch together along with
Your
her
Excellency,
friends.
welcome to our gathering, your worship as well, ladies and gentlemen. Well, here we are finally in this Flora. This is actually Flora's second book. It's a memoir. Her first book, The Child, was unveiled in 2008, was called They Never Killed My Spirit, They Murdered My Only Child. In that book, we learn of Flora growing up in Kenya, her first-hand experience at political violence as a party candidate, as an advocate for human rights, and the unimaginable pain of losing her only son, her only child, in a violent, murderous act by thugs who wanted to just keep Flora away from running for office, which women were not that accustomed to at the time in Kenya. While walking home one evening, Flora was ambushed and brutally attacked by 3 men and told to withdraw from the election process. She remained in hospital for many weeks, recovering from an attack with serious injuries. This act became known to Amnesty International and was included in their State of the World's report in 2008. Her story gained worldwide attention, and in 2009, Flora traveled to Canada to tell her story. Since then, she has engaged in numerous speaking engagements and has been an advocate for mental health, women's rights, including associations with the Stephen Lewis Foundation, the Jean Sauvé Foundation, the Brian Brofman Family Foundation, McGill, York, and Carleton Universities, Osgoode Hall, and Canadian Lawyers Abroad. In 2012, the YMCA in Quebec awarded her the International Peace Medal. In 2013, Flora was recognized in RBC's awards as being among the top 75 immigrants in Canada. As a speaker, Flora has shared stages and platforms with none less than former U.S. President Bill Clinton, former Governor General Michel Jean, former Prime Minister Paul Martin, retired Senator and General Romeo Dallaire, Senator Jim Munson, and David Suzuki. In Life Beyond Pain, Flora shares her culture shock, shall we say, with humor as she has adapted to Canadian life. Such things as in Midtown Toronto, for example, when she went into a Subway sandwich shop, innocently asking, "Where is the Subway, please?" Of course, she meant the TTC. She marvels at the fuss we make over our pets, with clothing and treats and adopting them like family. She's still getting used to why my dog has his own Facebook page, actually. And oh, my favorite. Flora at one point wanted to make a little extra money to support herself, so she started looking through newspapers, help wanted ads, and came across escorts wanted. Well, this might be an ideal aspect for her, helping little grannies or children with outings. And then at the actual interview, she found she was wrong in that interpretation. But that's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to let you read her book and find out what really happened. In closing, I would like to tell you that the number 7 is very important to Flora. She's a woman of deep faith and convictions in regards to the biblical stories of Jericho, Joshua, and others. This book launch represents the 7th anniversary of her dear son's passing. In a quote from Life Beyond Pain, Flora writes, 7 years of brokenness, 7 years of pain, 7 years of denial, 7 years of struggling, 7 years of miracle after miracle, 7 beautiful years, 7 glorious years. Life, even with its trials, eventually brings us to triumph over pain. In a few short weeks, Flora, and I'm not telling tales out of school, I hope, will be celebrating her swearing in as a new Canadian citizen. Thank you. Congratulations, Flora. Very, very well done. And now, please welcome my good friend and author, Flora Terah.
Thank you so much for that generous introduction. I think the program completely changed, and it's so lovely to see all of you here. And each and every person in this room has kind of enabled my transition. 4 years being in a country where I first experienced winter is not a joke. It's not a joke. At some point, I thought actually Canadians were wearing the gloves as, fashion, until I moved to Montreal and I realized Canada is actually cold. And I told my mother all the time, it's cold at the freezer, Mom. It's so cold. But however, Canadians are very warm people. And I would say that's why I've managed to walk through pain, through desperation, through trying to kind of familiarize myself with what, like, do you want water or do you want food? We don't ask that in Africa. But right now, if you come to my house, I'll definitely ask you that. So I'm more Canadian than I thought I was. And it's our tradition to call on people to walk with us wherever we walk. And the person that will start by me and the High Commissioner and Worship the Mayor will be Martin, so that he can be able to show you more of our traditions. And I welcome the three of you to come and help me unveil my book.
So congratulations. Yes. This is a wonderful. To join you, Flora, to thank you for launching this book, to thank you for being the voice of so many who have no voice now. And I know this book, and those you write, because I know you write more, will continue to give a voice to all of them. And I want to assure you, we have also changed as men. We have learned a lot from what happened. And we want to be sure, I want to assure you that these things, I think, in Kenya will not be repeated again. I was there when it happened to you. I was in Kenya. I was actually ambassador still somewhere. So I was reading these stories. And we share a lot in the pain. But my joy is that you have overcome this pain. And you are talking about it and giving us the strength to move on these issues and challenging us to improve and to make sure that these things cannot happen in our country again. So I want to thank you and congratulate you.
Thank you. So I am delighted to be with you here tonight. Some of you must be wondering why I'm there in Mississauga at City Hall here in Toronto, but Flora and I are good friends, are very dear friends. We had the opportunity to meet in 2009, I think, when you came through Ottawa, and at that time I was a member of Parliament. And I think you came through on a weekend, and I might have been the only one on duty that day, and they said, there is a woman who's running for office from Kenya. Could you meet her? I said, well, I'm delighted. And of course, she had me in tears after telling her story, her very tragic story that, you know, many of us are very ashamed that this happens in other places in the world, and we're so blessed to live here where things are much different, but we have to continue to fight to preserve our rights here. So, you know, I was very moved by Flora's story, and we kept in touch with each other. And of course, my life changed a little bit. Her life changed a lot. We both find ourselves in Toronto now. Myself, got into municipal politics, and her here, just still recovering a little bit from personal tragedy, I think. But you're a big success story today for us. We are so very, very proud of you and the work that you've done and continue to do on your second book. And I know everyone joins me in wishing you that you have a very active career, writing many books, authoring many books, and we wish you much more success. Congratulations.
In an era where we're almost absent in the continent, it's people like Flora that reminds us what we can be and the kind of Canada we envision our citizenship to be. You know, when I became a Canadian citizen in 1998, I remember when I was late because I was reading the book of Rosemary Brown, the first African or Jamaican Canadian woman who decided to run for the NDP. And what she wanted to build in this country, she wanted to make Canada more perfect. She wanted people like me not to be limited for my potential because of who I was, but what I could become and the kind of Canada I want to build. I was late because I wanted to be able to embrace that unique Canadian leadership that's missing today. And it's people like Flora that reminds us the kind of Canada we can become, because her story is no stranger to our Canadian story, because it's a story of our neighbors. It's a story of who we are. You can go to anywhere, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, TTC, anywhere, and you know that Canada is the most multicultural country. It's a more perfect society, but it's never perfect. It's when we allow people like Flora to flourish in this country that we celebrate our Canadian citizenship. And we reside in a country that hasn't always been perfect for women in this country. When the world welcomed the International Women's Day in 1911, Canada waited until 1929 to welcome and to accept Canadian women as humans. When Bonnie Crombie wins in Mississauga, we're all happy because we want a woman to be in government, because we really know the place of a woman isn't in the kitchen, it's wherever she wants to be, if I rephrase the old saying. So I'm happy, I'm excited, because when we welcome Flora to our family of Canadian citizenship, we're also celebrating our own successes.
I'm privileged to be standing before great people like you, who, when I look at your faces, I see the stories of hope. It is because of you that you gear me to stand here and say that Auma puinja kothbiro kerurudo kedala Auma puinja kothbiro
Tonight is a celebration of my launch of my second book, and this is a journey to my heart and seasons of joy, pain, and depression, hope, and of course healing. And I've written this book for the last couple of years, and I hope that with the hope that many who read it, not just men, not just women, men too, will be able to get out of any challenges that they find themselves into. Challenges that in that deep pit, many I've said in the book that die inside the pit, others are still struggling to get out of the pit. So this is a book of encouragement, and it gives
Came across
lots of
so many
hope.
challenges, but now you're here in Canada writing a book and retelling your story. What was the source of your strength?
Well, the source of my strength is knowing that I am who I am, and I do have something that no one can take away from me, and that is the undying human spirit. And I believe that many, like I've said in my book, many see me smile, many see me walk tall, but it's not a walk in the park. It has been a very, very bumpy road.
What does life beyond pain look like?
Life beyond pain is not, I'm not saying that you can't wake up with a problem. There are usually problems, but waking up and knowing that there's some goal in you, and that goal is you. Thinking of the power of your spirit, the power of being able to speak, the power of being able to stand in the audience and tell your story, the power of documenting. It doesn't matter whether you document it in the English you understand or the English other people don't understand. That is a power. The power in me right now is the storytelling power, and also the experience that I have from back home as a social worker for 19 years and as a leader back in my country. So I do not just want to have that wasted. I want to keep documenting it for the sake of the generations to come. And that's all about life beyond pain. Well, to every woman, I'd like to say there is no end to this journey. There are so many challenges, and the challenges are new every day, and there's a lot to be done. And those who are here, they should not just forget the story. They should not forget where they came from. You can also write a book, and you can invest on documenting the stories from Africa. It's stories from Africa that makes Africa better. It's stories from Africa that makes people understand that Africa is not just made of poverty, disease, and corruption. They need to know that there's another beauty that is in Africa, and the beauty is us, the women of Africa.
Alright, so the first time I met Flora, I was actually a student at the University of Toronto, and she had come to school to talk a little bit about herself. And what struck me about Flora, although her story is one of, there's a lot of sadness and devastation in it, as I'm sure people can learn from her book, but what stood out to me was that she is an extremely courageous person, and that she was sort of a proof that in spite of what's happened to you in your life and the devastating things that have happened to you in your life, you could be someone people look up to. You could be a happy person who struggles, but someone who also inspires others, and who would not allow violence and would not allow terrible things in the world to sort of put them down. Basically, her first book was about her. People murdering her only child, but never killing her spirit. And I'm just very glad to be here for her second book, which is about her overcoming that pain and that and her aspirations, and what it's like to
immigrate to Canada with a past like hers and try to flourish in this country. So she's an absolutely wonderful person, inspirational, and I'm lucky to know her, as I'm sure a lot of other people feel. So.
Tell them that it is me, the son, who is very proud of that woman who spent sleepless night that night, who woke up very early in the morning to go to the market so that he could sell the little small thing that she had for her son to go to school. Tell them that I am proud when I stand and look at people's eyes and see their glittering eyes and say it is because of the hope of that woman who stood firm and said, no, you're not going to cut down trees. Not because I sought to be seen different by you, but because the trees are our future. Tell them that I am proud of that woman who is back there digging day in, day out, because she don't know that she's driving the economy of back home, but she knows that I have a son that need to feed his tummy. Allow me to say that I'm proud to stand here and look like a son who sought his life, never even knew that he was not going to live because of that woman who would stand here today and give a story of hope, hope deeper than the roots of the trees that sought their roots in the streams. Allow me to stand firm and say that, yes, an option has not been an option, but an option is an option where it's an option. And allow me to say that it is because of the beautiful voices and the wise words and the rules that governs us that makes people strong. Allow me to say that I want to spread this information, I want to spread this good news of hope, not only in a hopeful way, but also in a musical way. Allow me to go so far, far, far away that nobody would want to miss a bit of my broken words. A picture speaks of 1,000 words, but I have my version way of saying it. Let me speak to 1,000 words. You get the picture? An old man said that old is gold. And when our generation listens to such strong words and to such stories that have been shared by my very own mom, and when she calls me and tells me that you have a platform somewhere to come and speak to people, I sought not to even start writing something because I don't know what I'm going to tell you. But I sought to bring myself and relate to you when I look at you and see you smile glittering. And I learned that we can all coexist in our own different ways, because the musical aspect back there, they said in Africa that oh yeah, mami vito kamueredo, oh yeah, kamueredo. Ne doka bere yaku kamueredo, oh yeah, kamueredo. Oh yeah, mami vito, oh yeah, kamueredo. Madena wanatwara, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Shuho nyige wanero, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Kerero wanarira, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Niko nene manama, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Doigana gotirika, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Miu de kawakuma, kamueredo. Oh yeah, kamueredo. Ifuku patuadeka, kamueredo. Oh yeah. I leave you with simple words of, it is the generation that speaks out that we want in this generation, so that they can pass the bright words and the bright ways of living today to our next generation. we kill our own vocal prowess, then we kill a future that needs to be brightened by the strong words that were spoken today, but by the strong people who stood here to say, yes we can, and yes we change in our future, and yes, we need you again and again. I appreciate it.